Huddle Up Podcast is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? This weekend is the return of the Pac-12 to the college football field, and one thing that we had, of course, posted earlier today in the Big Ten, that is Wisconsin once again having to cancel a game. Their game with Purdue this weekend canceled because they are up to 27 cases of COVID-19.
Of a team
with the Badgers football team. If they have to cancel one more game, they are no longer eligible for the Big Ten championships. That's certainly something that we are going to keep watch of. Well,
the good news is, eligible or not, there was a good chance they weren't going to be there anyway.
Probably. But the Pac-12 returns to play this weekend, and we're going to predict one game. That being the Oregon and Stanford game. But it's a 7-game season. It's an all-conference schedule. The real question here is, and I feel like, if you look at the rankings, I feel like Oregon is the Pac-12's only chance. But if we're being like really realistic about it, I don't think that the Pac-12 realistically has a path to the college football playoff. And Oregon is sitting right now at 13. There's a lot of teams ahead of them. None of them teams that they're going to play and have a chance at beating. And, and there's already starting to be like this discussion on, ESPN and CBS Sports and things like that, if Notre Dame, obviously, if you're watching the video, you see a lot of green. There's a reason for that. Notre Dame with a big game this weekend, which we will obviously predict. If Notre Dame can split the season with Clemson, there's a lot of people already putting them, as the number 4 team. Clemson and Notre Dame would get in. At this point, Alabama, Ohio State would get in, or the winner of the SEC and Ohio State would get in. Like I just don't see a pathway for the Pac-12.
I don't see very many, and not even, with Oregon, sure, they're sitting there, and I think at 12 or 13, with maybe an 8 or a 9 or a 10-game schedule, you'd have an opportunity. The trouble for Oregon is usually their opportunity for that one quality win, or that one or two quality wins, is because over the past few years they've scheduled some tougher games outside of conference, because they realize, if you're not playing those ranked teams, and I'm looking at their schedule here, and obviously Stanford is a big game, but Stanford unranked, and currently none of their, as far as I know, UCLA might be the closest, because I don't think my schedule shows the rankings as they are currently, but Washington State, UCLA, Oregon State,
USC, Oregon, I believe right now are the only two
right.
Pac-12 teams in the top 25.
You're right, and they do not play each other.
Yeah, so to me,
and that late season game against Washington, is there a chance Washington runs some wins and is ranked at the time? Maybe, but beyond that, maybe UCLA is too. But I think those are going to be ranked opponents with a couple of losses.
Washington right now sitting 10 spots out in the receiving votes, so theoretically they're 35th.
Right,
in the country. That's a lot of climbing.
You have that situation there, and it's. I just don't really see an opportunity. And the trouble is, as I said that comment that, like, could they be a couple loss, low ranked team? And then it dawned on me, I don't think anyone in the Pac-12 with, those teams that aren't ranked now, if they drop a game, or two games, I don't think anybody's ranked, because you're going to be your final record is 5-2.
Right.
Is that rankable? I just don't think so. I think there's going to be enough teams that played 10 or 11 games with 2, 3, maybe even 4 losses some of them quality losses that are going to pass those teams because they're going to be losses to other unranked teams. So
Right.
I think it's a rough situation for the Pac-12. Good for them getting some revenue, I guess, but I don't think it's a very realistic opportunity for them to represent their conference.
Yeah, no, I certainly don't either. It's it's just one of those things that in this season, the nature of the thing. I mean, the fact that they're getting on the field is something to be, I guess, celebrated. Because the schools on the West Coast, the cities on the West Coast, some of them have been extremely strict on everything. So the fact that they're getting the opportunity now to play, I think is pretty big in and of itself. So we're gonna move here to the picks, Sean, in college football, and catching up on the picks against the spread for us from last week. I was 4-1 in college football, bringing my season total up to 14-10 overall. You were 3-2 for a 19-5 overall. So again, we're about a halfway point ish. We got a month. I'm getting there. I need you to have a really bad week, and I need to have a week where I really get a good one. But we're starting. We have 5 games to pick this week. 4 of them featuring where both teams are in the top 25. We're going to start with number 9 BYU. They're 7-0, a 2-point road favorite at number 21 Boise State, who is only 2-0. That the Mountain West, they're just getting started. 59.5 is the over/under. This one Friday night, 9:45 Eastern time on FS1. BYU is a team that I think has probably surprised a few people that that they're in the top 10 and they're making a little noise, but I just feel like in a game like this, something about the blue field and all of that, get a Friday night. It's a little bit of a different schedule. I like Boise State to get the home upset in this one, not only to cover the 2, get the win outright. I am definitely taking the over though. This just feels like a classic, kind of whoever has the ball last sort of a thing.
Yeah, and I was looking at it, and my my instinct went to Boise State here, and obviously a team that in big games has arrived, and I think because of that, this it looks like an opportunity for Boise State to kind of shock BYU, and I feel like a lot of folks are gonna. I just feel like a lot of folks are going to kind of think that. I think the fact, I'm currently showing BYU by 2.5, but this opened as a Boise 1-point favorite spread, which leads me to believe a lot of folks, they're still pulling for Boise, and I think that they're kind of a nationwide fan favorite. But BYU is a team that, some experts had picked even last year. They're a very good offensive team, and in this type of matchup, I don't know that you need to be that great defensively. But this is a team, say what you will about their opponents. They have been, with the exception of a 27-20 win at UTSA, Texas San Antonio, they have obliterated people. 55-3 over Navy, 48-7 over Troy, 45-14 Louisiana Tech. And then even a game against Houston. And these are programs that although they're not really big right now, have historically had good football programs and have won, games in this conference over the past 5 or 10 years. Most recently, a Western Kentucky blowout at 41-10. So, I mean, this is a team that's been rolling. And Bluefield or not, traveling way out west or, a bit north or not, these are 2 of the westernest teams in the conference. I'm going to go ahead and go against you. I'm going to give you that chance so far to make your gain, if you will. I'm going to take BYU. We're going to take the Stormin' Mormons, and we are going to ride the over with you, though. That's going to be a tidal wave of points, and I want to make sure that my surfboard's on top of it.
There you go. All right, then we move to the Big Ten, and this is probably one of the more surprising matchups. If you looked at the Big Ten schedule at the start of the year and where we are now and where we went just from 1 week to the next, number 23, Michigan, coming off that surprising loss to the Michigan State Spartans last weekend, a game where they looked lost. Michigan State looked more like the Michigan State of old. So that one very surprising. They're 1-1. Still a 4-point road favorite I have at number 13, Indiana, who is now 2-0 of course, wins against Penn State and Rutgers. The 55 is the over/under. This one at noon on FS1. Yeah, I'm a bit baffled by what happened with Michigan, but I feel like it was a situation where this season's going to provide a lot of odd scenarios, and it's going to yield results that you don't expect sometimes, and I think that's what we had there. I think Michigan State in the first week when they lost to Rutgers may have been looking ahead a little bit. I think it's a situation where their new head coach, he turned Colorado around pretty quick last year, and maybe you're already starting to see that spin a little bit, because it's not that Michigan State doesn't have talent. It's that the prior coaching staff maybe just didn't know how to utilize it and maybe lost the room. So I'd like to hope here that the Michigan Wolverines get back on track. They settle themselves. They prepare a little bit better, and they settle into this game. I still don't know how good Indiana is, but at 2-0 and 13 in the country, all of a sudden, there's a lot of eyes on them that they're not quite used to, and I feel like the environment may be a little bit big for them. So I'm going to take Michigan to cover and obviously pick up the win here, but I'm going to take the under, as I feel like one thing Michigan wants to do really to control the game is look at that game from Minnesota, control the game on the ground, run the ball, settle back down, don't do anything too tricky, and keep Indiana from spreading the field like they did against Penn State and like they did against Rutgers, and which feels like such a weird thing to say, like if Michigan has to slow down Indiana, but here we are. So I like Michigan to cover, and I'm going to take the under.
All right, yeah, it's definitely not the it might be the numbered rankings I may have expected coming into this game, kind of a stretch for Indiana there, but I expected them to be a little flipped if I would have seen this at the beginning of the season. Kind of a tale of two surprising seasons, tale of a big win and a tale of a big loss. And I think that, eyes are probably on Michigan here to make the bounce back and kind of put that talent into perspective, trying to figure out, what woes happened, what woes didn't happen. But I will say this, Indiana, are they for real? I don't know. But I'm looking at their schedule, and I would say with the exception of Ohio State, if there was another team right now with a path to the playoff, I feel like Indiana might be it. Now, they would obviously have to be for real, and they would have to win all their games. But looking at their schedule, it sets up nice to impress people. With a chance to beat Michigan here, they go to Michigan, or they go to Michigan State, then they play Ohio State. They get a kind of a breather against Maryland, but then they go to Wisconsin, assuming they're playing football, and then they play Purdue. So they have enough breathable games between those quality opponents, and I think there's enough of them. If one of those wins from where they're sitting at 13, if one of those wins were against an Ohio State Buckeye team and they went undefeated, I think this team's in the discussion, especially if they're beating teams well. And I would not have predicted that 2 weeks ago. I would not have predicted that, 1 week ago. I don't know that I would have seen that schedule and been like, this is definitely a chance. But you know what? You already got one win against a top build team. Why not some more? And because of that, I think I'm going to take Indiana in this game. I think they're going to continue to ride high. I think this is still a chance for them to surprise people. I think they're coming out with Michigan as the favorite. I think it just shows that Indiana still needs to surprise some people, and I think they do. Maybe get them a good build game against Ohio State just to get it, have the train derail right there against the Buckeyes from Columbus. But I think this one, I'm going to take Indiana. I'm going to take the over, so I'm going to go exact opposite. I think Indiana. Same reason you needed it under for Michigan, I needed over for Indiana. I think they need to score some points, and I think maybe Michigan State set a blueprint for them. Give me the Hoosiers at home.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, what
this
else?
Is a basketball game.
What else besides 2020 would provide an opportunity for Indiana to have a clear road to a college football playoff?
Right. This is a basketball game, right? That's what we're.
Yes, yeah, it's an early.
Yeah, then give me the Hoosiers. I've seen the movie.
It's a very early season basketball game. Huddle Up Podcast is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. at your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Then we go to the SEC. Number 8, Florida. They are 3-1 at number 5, Georgia, 4-1. A 6-point home favorite. 52.5 is the over/under on this one. 3:30 on CBS. I'm going to go here. I'm already going to tell you I'm taking the over because as we've seen with these big SEC games over the last couple of years, they yield a lot of offense. This isn't necessarily the conference of defense anymore, so I'm going to definitely take the over here. And this one is so strange. Florida's coming off a big win last week. They finally got back on the field. Their coach is hyped up. They had that big fight. So they're a team that's just scrapping. They know that it's going to be a fight to the college football playoff and the SEC title game. And Georgia, they've looked pretty good despite obviously the loss to Alabama, but I still think that they're working on finding their identity and if they can kind of get over that hump of what we know Georgia is, and that's sometimes a team that disappoints themselves and their fans. So I'm actually gonna get pretty bold here. I'm not necessarily saying Florida is going to win this game. It would not shock me to see them actually pull the upset, but I think they are going to cover that 6 points. I feel like that number is pretty big. These teams are very evenly matched. So I'm going to take Florida to cover, and I'm definitely taking the over, and you can go ahead and lock that up.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Wow, pretty sure of yourself there with the lock. Yeah?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to unlock that lockbox right there because I see this line in a completely different light. I think it's a small line. I think when you're looking at kind of Georgia there, and obviously, obviously last week Georgia seemingly struggled against a Kentucky squad, only putting up 14 points, but the defense didn't struggle at all, only giving up 3. And I think that's the real battle of this game is going to be. Is it going to be Florida's high-scoring offense? Is it going to be Georgia's just bone-crushing defense? And I think the defense is just a little more grounded here. I think especially with it being kind of off a sour performance for Georgia, I expect the offense to bounce back there, and I think Georgia's really going to come to play. I think Georgia, I said kind of earlier in the year that I think they. If there was a year for them to maybe beat Alabama, this is it. They've sputtered a little bit here, but found ways to win. And I think this is a game to kind of get it back on track and put them on the map. Florida's defense, in my opinion, is awful. So if there was a game to get the offensive wheels going, this is a good one. And I actually think this line is a great betting line. If you're betting against Georgia or betting on Georgia, they have a chance to really kind of show some people that they are for real again. And I'm going to take Georgia. I'm going to take was the over-under at 53?
52.5, yeah. It's a
52.5, 53. I'm going to take the under. I think they're going to get the wheels cranking, but probably not high enough. It's always a gutsy play taking the under, but we don't keep track of that anyway. So give me Georgia. Georgia and the points.
All right, very good. Then we go to, like I said, the only Pac-12 game we have this weekend that's featuring those Stanford Cardinal and the number 12 Oregon Ducks. Neither team with a win, obviously, or a loss because they're just getting back underway. Oregon, 11.5-point home favorite. 52 is the over/under one on this one. 7:30 on ABC. I feel like this one's fairly easy. I think Stanford's going to compete early on. They usually do. But I think they're just going to get outmatched. I think David Shaw, in out there at Stanford is just he's kind of on the end of his rope here, and with the recent struggles that Stanford has had. So I see them struggling here against a very good, very quick, very athletic Oregon team. So I'm going to take Oregon plus the 11.5, and I'm definitely taking the over.
Yeah, I think this. I was ready to take the lock on Georgia. I kind of pulled it when you put the lock on the other side. We didn't want to confuse folks. Lock up both sides. This was of the ones that I thought we might be picking. As gutsy as it is to do it on a game where two teams haven't played. I think you're right. I think Oregon's way too fast, and Stanford just not really going to be able to compete with this one. Oregon knows that they got to make a show early, they got to make a show often, and they got to score a ton of points. So they are going to push the over. They might do it on their own, 51 points. So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Oregon. It's going to be a quack fest up there in the Pacific Northwest, and you can put the lock on this one.
Yeah, I figured that one was coming.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
I didn't want to make it too easy on myself with the lock, so can't fault you for doing it. And then of course we go to the big one. This is the marquee game of the weekend for us.
There's a good one in South Bend
for us the entire season. This game was on the schedule either way. This weekend, it was this weekend. This game did not move with the shuffling and Notre Dame getting into the ACC because of all the changes. Number one, Clemson, 7-0. They're coming in 6.5-point road favorites at number 4, Notre Dame, who is 6-0. 51 is the over-under on this game. 7:30 on NBC. And as you can see by our shirts, our backgrounds, our colors, everything, it's a green week here for the Nice boys. As Notre Dame has instructed us to. I don't know if the Irish are wearing green, the green jerseys this weekend, but we will see about that come Saturday. For me, Sean, I mean, I'll already say it. I'm picking Notre Dame to cover. I think it's going to be a close game. I think they have the defense to do it. The key here, and this is why I'm taking the under in this game, is for Notre Dame to win this game. I think they have to rely on their run game. I mean, Ian Book's going to have to make plays. There's no question about it. He's going to have to make plays that he doesn't necessarily always make, but he's going to have to make them on Saturday. But for Notre Dame to win this game, I think they have to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, but especially when they are on offense. Run the ball. They're one of the best running offenses in college football, and keep their defense fresh because you got to slow down ETN and that Clemson offense, which is a very hard thing to do. And there was even a couple of points this past week against Georgia Tech where Georgia Tech's receivers got behind Notre Dame's secondary. So you can't let Clemson do that to you. You have to control. So for me, that's why I'm taking the under. If Notre Dame wants the chance, and I think they have it. I think out of all the years where Notre Dame's have had one of these opportunities to surprise and win one of these games, I feel like this year is one of our best chances. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence out again with COVID. He's expected, as long as he passes and everything, to travel with the team to South Bend. He'll be on the sideline, but will not be playing. This is Notre Dame's opportunity, and I think they can do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you hit a couple real key nails on the head there. I think needing to run the ball is huge. Kind of a red flag for Notre Dame is we have for some reason struggled to run the ball at times, whether it was refusing to call the plays, refusing to run the plays, or just not executing. We have seen all those things happen this year. This would not be the game for that to happen. You got those big grass-fed boys in the middle. Obviously, Clemson's defense very, very fast, very strong at stopping the run. So that's going to be a test for us. You may have to get a bit inventive to do it, but you want to run the ball. On the other side, a pretty good running game coming your way. A very good running back for Clemson. Bringing a touchdown streak with them, and they're obviously going to want to run the ball too. I mean, this isn't Trevor Lawrence behind center. Obviously, an extra week to practice is going to help, but still kind of a thing where there's going to be that mindset for the youngster. Just don't mess it up. To keep the train rolling. Yeah, I like Notre Dame's defense too. I think this is one of the better units we've had in a really long time. I think it's an opportunity to maybe keep some scoring down. I'm actually kind of surprised the over-under's where it is. I think it is going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be kind of similar to what we used to see out of the SEC and those low-scoring kind of battle-y brawls. down in, the old LSU Alabamas and those Auburn. Any game involving Auburn used to be like 9-3. I don't know if it's going to be quite that low scoring, but yeah, and if Ian Book can make some plays, hopefully it doesn't all rest on his shoulders. I'm going to take Notre Dame to not only cover but to win outright, because I think you have to. I think both teams are very aware of the fact that this season is kind of shaping up to have these two play again. Pending no letdown. Obviously, if Notre Dame does what I do and pull off this upset, obviously there's that Boston College game looming off in the mist there. So we don't want to take that one for granted, especially after the performance last week. But you got to play the one in front of you. I think Notre Dame wins this one because they need to. I think Clemson just sits and waits for us, and we get a chance to maybe be the favorite going in, or a higher ranked underdog. Who knows how that'll look with Trevor Lawrence under center at a championship game.
Sure.
But give me the Irish, give me the under, and should be an exciting one in South Bend.
Now, if Trevor Lawrence were on the field,
He's not, James.
Right, but I think that a 6.5 line. I think you're looking closer to 2 touchdowns, maybe
I was
more.
going to say 14-17, somewhere in there, probably.
Do you think Notre Dame has a chance at this point in the season if Trevor Lawrence is on the field? I mean, you got to approach it the same way.
You're going to approach. You're going to kind of give the similar prep, and obviously your game plan's not going to change too much, at least not offensively. Obviously, defensively, you got to key in on some different things, and obviously Trevor Lawrence is a bit more of a firecracker as far as unpredictability goes. But yeah, I mean, you probably just go into the mindset, be more aware that you may have to pass more because you may find yourself in a bit of a shootout. But I mean, Notre Dame probably would cover that 17 points. Again, I think it would still be a fairly low-scoring game. But I think with the opportunity here without Trevor Lawrence, I think this team's, even if you fall in a bit of a hole early, is going to take some chances and realize this may be the opportunity to secure yourself a spot and maybe a chance to play this team a third time.
Huddle Up Podcast is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?